What's up, y'all? It's Friday. You know what that means? It means NFL picks. We got the in-season tournament final tomorrow. And before I forget, yes, you are now listening to the sounds of Sports Reports as Ordered. I am 2-5. And on the other side of that screen, New Jersey, stand up. You're in the building. Mr. Logical. So,
That's
me.
Me.
I got it on good authority. I don't even know why I'm happy right now. I got the worst news that a sports fan could get today.
What's that?
The spread came out, and the bye week is favored by 14 over the Commanders. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. You know, but yo, get it off my chest. Starts right about now.
Stop drafting these quarterbacks that suck in college. You think you can fix them in the NFL?
Oh, damn, coming in hot.
I'm coming in hot. I'm like, I don't know why people are ignoring. It's a basic formula. If I'm going to solve this math question, 4 times 4 plus 2. I don't need to go to the ends of the earth. I don't need to go over analytics. I don't need to overanalyze it.
No common core.
I don't need all this other stuff. 4 times 4, 16 plus 2 is 18. Quarterback that has 12 starts in college, it's probably not going to be a good NFL prospect. Mark Sanchez, Mitchell Trubisky, who will give you another. I think Andrew Luck has some good starts. Turned out to be a good quarterback. Brock Purdy had a lot of starts. Turned out to be a good quarterback. Tyler Bagent had a lot of starts. Turned out to be a pretty good quarterback. Justin Fields didn't have that many starts. Struggling at quarterback. Trevor Lawrence had a couple of years. Pretty good quarterback. Deshaun Watson
Haskins, rest in
had
peace.
a few years. Dwayne Haskins didn't have that many. Wasn't that good? So stop. Cordell Jones didn't have that many starts. Turned out not to be a good. I think he was in like what is that league that was on, like the fan voted league or something.
Oh yeah. Michael Vick was up in there.
Mitchell Trubisky was drafted ahead of Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. Not in years, in the same draft. Chicago went up from 3 to 2 to get Trubisky. And we'll get into our recap of the game, and we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. But New England punted like 8 or 9 times, 2 or 3 times in the fourth quarter. When Pittsburgh was down 3. When that ball was kicked to the 20, 25, 30 on the other side of the field, and Trubisky was marching onto the field, at no point did I think he was going to be able to make the plays to get them in the scoring position on the other side of the 50. If I'm thinking that, I know for damn sure Pickens was thinking it. I know for sure Najee Harris was thinking it. I'm pretty sure I know Mike Tomlin was thinking it. This dude was literally throwing the ball to New England Patriot defensive backs yesterday, hitting them in the chest with the ball multiple times, just throwing it behind. And it's like, you've been in the league. You got drafted ahead of Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes, and you've done nothing. You haven't improved. So all that means to me is that you were never good at this job. If you look as bad as he looked like a rookie or second year guy that's never had a start. That's how he looked.
He looked like Desmond Ritter.
Yo, keep it a bean. He looked like Desmond Ritter. He looked like Tim Boyle. Who looked like Zach Wilson. He looked like CJ Beathard. He looked like Baker Mayfield at times with Carolina. He looked like Sam Darnold. He looked like all of these guys that went top 10 first round. He looked like Malik Willis. He looked like give me some more
He
names
looked
of
like
people.
Mac Jones.
He looked like Mac. He looked like McCorkle Jones. Hell, he looked less impressive than Bailey Zappi.
He
And
didn't
it's
look
just
like he could hold Charlie Batch's jockstrap.
not at all. And it's just the makeup and the dynamic of these quarterbacks is just appalling because it's going to cost really, really, really good coaches their job. I can't do anything with you if you've been in the league for 7 years. I'm Mike Tomlin, and I can't trust you to make it's 4th and 2. Why you throwing a go route in the cover 2 man? You got press man coverage and a safety over the top, and you suck. You know you suck. Why are you throwing a go route? Just get the 2 yards.
He looked like Mason Rudolph.
Who they already had. So I get it. Yeah. Quarterbacks don't grow on trees. They're just not everywhere. I completely understand that. But if you're going to get in the game, they look so ill prepared for seasoned veterans. This is third team. And like I said, I literally had zero expectation of him getting the ball from the 25 into field goal range. Definitely not a touchdown, even when they got the turnovers. The interception and the block punt. That's 2 touchdowns you should have gotten. They gave you the ball in the only place you were going to be able to score. So when they were punting the ball away, like I think it was like 4th and inches, 4th and 1. New England was like that. We're gonna punt this because Bill Belichick was like, Trubisky can't get it from here. He can't get it from down there to back here. But if we don't get this 4th down, he's already in position. He's like, just kick it over there. This dude's not moving the ball at all. The wide receivers for Pittsburgh have quit. They are done. They've been done for weeks. Pickens has been done. Pick George, and then Kenny Pickett, he's up in the booth. Like, you need to be on the sideline. You have proved nothing. You still out here playing football with gloves on like a 12-year-old. Like, I mean, I'm just upset, and I hope Mike Tomlin. I was talking to a Pittsburgh fan today. He was like, they got to fire Mike Tomlin. And some guy was like, you're gonna fire a guy that never had a losing record?
You done set me up. When's the last time the Steelers won a playoff game?
Ooh, we in 2023 right now. I'm gonna say 2016.
2017.
It's close.
They beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. But just for a little bit more clarity, just indulge me for a minute. Not only did they take him ahead of Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes, but here's some more names from that first round of that draft. So obviously Myles Garrett went number 1. That don't count. All right. Number 3 was Solomon Thomas. Number 4, Leonard Fournette. Number 8, little guy, you might know him, Christian McCaffrey. Number 11, Marshawn Lattimore. Number 13, Hassan Reddick. Number 14, Derek Barnett. Number 16, Marlon Humphrey. Number 17, Jonathan Allen. Number 23, I mean, you wouldn't have drafted a tight end that high, but Evan Ingram. Number 27, Trey White. Number 30, TJ Watt. Number 29, again, you wouldn't take a tight end that high, but David Njoku.
They traded up from 3 to 2. No one was trying to get Trubisky at 2.
Oh, how about this one? Number 28, Taco Charlton. Number 31, Reuben Foster. So you didn't even have to reach for him. Nobody else was taking Mitchell Trubisky. And I admit, I liked Mitch Trubisky in college. He was running that offense down in North Carolina, but you heard what I said, in college. The same thing that I'm going to say about one Bo Nix, who I feel is like the next Zach Wilson waiting to happen. This guy was no good at Auburn. You took him to the Northwest, to Nike University, put all the speed around him, playing in a lesser conference. And now all of a sudden, he's a Heisman candidate. I don't buy it. But anyway, get it off my chest. First of all, congratulations to Trey Taylor for winning the Thorpe Award out of the United States Air Force Academy.
Off we go into the wild blue yonder.
That's right. Attaboy, give her the gun. They changed that. I forgot they changed that. The attaboy, give her the gun or whatever it was. Like, they changed that. Like, because it was like.
Are you messing with me?
No, that was like
last year. Are you serious?
That was like last year. You know what I mean?
Come on. I ain't changing. If I go to an event, we sing the Air Force song, I'm doing it. Sue me. I ain't go to Iraq for nothing.
Yeah, like here it is right here, May 29th of 2020, because they wanted to show representation of everyone that has served. They didn't want it to be gender specific. So instead of Adam boy, give him the gun, it says Adam now, give him the gun.
Negative. Negative. I don't care. I ain't politically correct. I don't need to be. I ain't running for president yet. Attaboy, give it a gun. Give it a gun. Yeah, there we go. Give it a gun.
All right. All right. So look, Air Force, right?
Sorry.
The reigning defending Commander-in-Chief trophy winners. But tomorrow is the game, America's game. Everybody talks about the Iron Bowl. They talk about the big game. They talk about Florida State. They talk about Washington, Oregon. But no game personifies the sport that I love, college football, the way that Army Navy does. These are just guys with pride playing a kid's game. Forget your NIL, forget your transfer portal. These are just dudes that, for one, are dedicating their lives to defend their country. But they are out here playing football seemingly just for the love of the game. Now, neither team is going to a bowl game this year. 5-6. This makes the game that much more special. And if Army wins, they take the Commander-in-Chief trophy home for the first time since 2020. If Navy wins, it stays at the Air Force Academy because they would have all beat each other. So there's a lot on the line here, but the main thing is respect. Now, the Commander-in-Chief trophy came along in 1972. Mr. Rutley, which academy has won the most Commander-in-Chief trophies?
Probably the Naval Academy.
It would be the United States Air Force Academy.
Oh, word. Oh, word.
Yes, 21 times, Navy 16, Army 9.
I was thinking Roger Staubach.
Well, yeah. But, so this game is America's game. This is the man's game. So salute to you all that's going to take the field tomorrow. Thank you for your service. Thank you for everything that you're doing. Have a good game out there, and may the best team win. So
go Army, beat Navy. I'm an Army brat, so go Army, beat Navy.
Now I want Navy to win because then the Air Force get to keep the trophy. Plus Naval Academy, Annapolis, Maryland. I was a little dumb kid that didn't know any better, and I thought Navy was just another Maryland team. When I was growing up, I was like, "Yo, that's the local team," and they're like, "That's the military." I'm like, "What's the military?" So little dumb 2-5 there, but here we go. So last night, I came on these airwaves, and I asked if we were going to have a 9-6 game, and I should have known better because I even said in my own preview that the Steelers were 29th against the pass and the run. The Patriots were 23rd against the pass. So I should have known that points could be scored. And I even said that I did not think that Zeke Elliott was washed. I just think that he wasn't the Zeke Elliott that we've known. And then what he go do and get 140 scrimmage yards last night?
Zeke is a big body. I think he just started running. He was taking that bruising in Dallas. And it was like, I'm just going to keep this weight on and get strong. Because first time I seen him in a Patriot uniform, I thought it was an offensive lineman. Like they had the camera like eye level, like he was walking from like one of their buildings like to their practice
When I
field.
saw him in the Patriots uniform, I thought he was an Ewok wearing United States colors.
Yo, I thought my man was playing tackle, not tackle football.
But yeah, so what about, hold on before we get into this, what about that false start call on the punt near the end of the game?
I'm trying to think.
Because when I saw it, I thought to myself, I've seen every long snapper do that. Like all he did was come up. I've seen every long snapper do that.
And he
Even
didn't even do it abruptly. He just lifted his head up and looked.
yeah, and they called that, which I thought was an offsides, but
Well, the script had New England jumping off sides because everybody in the booth called the penalty on like Tavi 48. The rest called it on 46. And after they called it, even the guys, Kurt Herbstreit in the booth, was like, yeah, Tavi made a mistake. They're going to give Pittsburgh the first down. And they were like, whoa, wait, hold on. They called it on Pittsburgh. I thought it was a bad call.
mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'm going to die on this hill. You had plenty of time to make plays. You can't put yourself in a position where a single bad call can disrupt your opportunity to win.
Don't let a team that averages 12 points a game score that much on you.
Score 21 points in the first half with a backup quarterback that's
hey,
probably
you watch your mouth.
11.
He's the best quarterback on that roster.
West Kentucky University, stand up.
Go Toppers.
But it just I remember watching because I was out to dinner, so I was at a sitting at the bar eating my food, so I was on the TV, and then I left before the game ended, so I was watching the game. I was driving home, I was watching on my phone. So it was the later series where Pittsburgh went for it, and I got my eyes closed because I'm thinking I'm not sleeping. It was 4th and 1.
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh called this mother thing real quick. Stop wasting your timeouts in the second half. And if you're established, just call an inside zone handoff run. That's it. Like if you have nothing else, don't waste the timeout in the second half in a highly contested game because you're gonna need it. And they needed it and they didn't have it because they got a first down. You get the ball reset. You got 25 seconds to get the play in and run it, and they had to call a timeout after a first down.
Would be a good time for a fullback.
So then but they already had the first down. I'm talking about like it happened early.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, if you're just going to try to get like 3 or 4 yards real quick, just
real quick
to the up back.
Boom. Let's get 3 or 4 yards so we don't waste the time out. Now we're in 2nd and 6. So 4th and 1, their side of the field, they go for it, get it. Next, because like I said, Trubisky wasn't moving the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So they got the first down. Then they got 7 yards in the next couple of plays. And then it was 3rd and 3. I'm like, it's 3rd and 3. Plenty of time. I'm thinking like 7 or 8 minutes left. If not, maybe probably like 7, probably around 7 minutes. I could be wrong. Somebody research it. You just went for it on 4th and 1, basically 8 yards back. So that means you're apt to go for it again on 4th and 1 if it happens again. So on 3rd and 3, Mike, what are you calling?
Well, I would have at least 3 plays in my mind. So the first play is the little fake to the running back, tight end, just cut right over to the first down line. Depending on my running back, I may call
6'2", 6'3 and a half, 240
Yep, we're going to push you forward and go for it on 4th down if we need to. That's probably the number one play.
That's the play call. That's the play call.
And then the third play is a slant.
Wait. Mitchell Trubisky is your quarterback. So what's your play call?
I'm giving it to the running back. Yeah, okay, I'm giving it.
Okay.
But this is the problem. This is the problem. Jalen Warren and Najee Harris combined 19 rushes, 40 yards.
That's because there's 8 dudes in a box. I'm good with that. I think I can get 3 yards in this situation to get me the first down because all I need is a new set of downs. New set of downs, new hope. I don't have any hope and or faith in Trubisky making a throw in a pressure situation. I don't think we've ever seen it.
That last throw was wild.
The 4th and 1.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, they got the ball back. It just was so poorly.
Yeah, I was like, yo, is that Josh Allen out there?
It made me. I was thinking, like, is Tomlin out of touch and needs a more innovative offensive mind, a younger offensive mind,
Yes.
to match his wisdom?
Yes.
Like, listen, I'm the wisdom here, but I'm gonna trust your young, like, not even like, just creative mind, like a Norv Turner kind of mind, a Schottenheimer kind of mind, like just somebody that's gonna come up, a Shanahan kind of mind. Like I think Shanahan is probably in his 40s,
or
but like just
Pittsburgh needs to
somebody
stop,
else.
or Pittsburgh needs to stop trying to be Green Bay Northeast, where they don't sign anybody. They just, hey, we're going to draft them and we're going to develop them and we're going to coach them up. Sometimes you just need a playmaker.
And that's the thing. They have offensive playmakers. It's just, for some reason, those play calls, I didn't have the faith in Trubisky that the offensive play caller had last night, and I don't know where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel the same way about Pickett. I just think they're all.
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know if they win that game. Like, I don't even know if they win that game if Pickett plays.
I don't think Pickett's the answer. I think it was a good pick because in a year where they didn't have many highly rated quarterbacks in the draft, to take a guy from your home team, you know him, he's been in the building, you know his coaches, you know his work ethic or whatever. I think that was a good thing. It's just something about the way that they play. I think they always play like that.
I think they just haven't evolved.
Roethlisberger just had that moxie to make the play. And then they had Antonio Brown. They had guys like what's the boy's name? Number 17, super fast out of Mississippi State. Mike something. I'm drawing a blank.
Now. Yeah, I ain't got
but
it.
Then they had like Martellus Bennett. They
had Antonio Holmes.
Santonio Holmes.
Martavius Bryant. Yeah.
Martavius Bryant. Yeah. They had like playmakers on the edge, very similar to the playmakers they have now. It's just the schematics don't match. But last night I would have gone, especially in that fourth quarter. I'm like, listen, let's just use our bravado, our big backs, our big linemen. I think I heard him say something along the lines of they had 4 tight ends active for this game because they knew the quarterback can't throw it to wide receivers. But yet they kept calling pass plays where he was throwing it downfield to wide receivers. Like the reason you brought 4 tight ends to this game, no one dresses 4 tight ends. The Kansas City Chiefs don't have 4 tight ends. The Los Angeles Chargers don't have 4 tight ends. The Buffalo Bills don't bring 4 tight ends. The reason you brought 4 tight ends is because you knew you need your elementary level quarterback to have some easy throws.
And they didn't play well until the end of the game either.
And they didn't call them until they were in the red zone going for 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like the little shovel pass. Like everyone knows you're going to Frymouth. Everyone knows you're going to Frymouth on a pass play. Just run the inside zone run. Get your running back running downhill 4 yards, 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
Let them plow through. Your guard, center, let them push their 600 pounds, 700 pounds almost of bass, followed by a 240-pound running back coming downhill. It's going to get you 3 yards if they just make that block. So it just, like I said, I think it was a simple fix, and they didn't take him, and now they have a bunch of questions to include. Is Tomlin the guy going forward? Unfortunately, I don't think he's doing a bad job. I just don't think that they have an identity that matches with his skill set anymore.
Right. That makes sense.
But he can come to Atlanta.
Now, to get back to your coworker.
Get rid of Arthur. Come on, like I'm putting it out here first. Mike Tomlin to Atlanta.
To get back to your coworker or whoever that was, firing Mike Tomlin is not the answer. One, he has the same amount of Super Bowls as Bill Cowher. He has a better winning percentage than Bill Cowher. The Steelers are just in a transition where they might not have made the right decision at quarterback, which, last time I checked, Tomlin doesn't make that decision. They went 9-8 last year and had no reason to be 9-8. You know, they were probably worse last year. Well, their offense was performing better, but overall as a team, you know, they weren't forcing the type of turnovers that they're getting this year and blocking punts and doing all the
TJ
extracurriculars.
Watt missed a lot of games. Like
Mm-hmm.
with him playing was
Yeah, we talked about his record when their
500.
record. Mm-hmm. You know, so yeah, as far as the fire Mike Tomlin thing, like, you know, as the odd couple would say, stop it. You know, like just why are we talking about this? All right, so you know, we already mentioned it in the intro. You know, bye week favorite by 14 over the Commanders. So I think this is the week that Terry McLaurin gets loose. I think that they're going to call some routes to get him across the middle, you know, do some crosses with him and Jahan Dotson, maybe Curtis Samuel out of the backfield. I'm picking Washington over the bye week.
Yo, what if somebody gets suspended in the bye week? Does that mean the bye week one?
Yeah, that's exactly what that means.
Somebody get caught gambling. It's
That's
like,
exactly
well, the
what
bye
that
week
means.
beat Washington yet again.
But hey, this week, down in the Mecca, known as Atlanta, known as the compressor, the Buccaneers are coming through. First place is on the line. You guys going to hold serve?
I'm just picking Atlanta because I'm an Atlanta fan. I have no reason to believe. Like, I watched that game. I watched the Jet game. Granted, it was outside. It was raining. But I've seen plenty of quarterbacks play outside and rain and throw the ball, throw it deep. These guys can catch. These guys are professionals. They're just throwing a ball around.
Did somebody get hurt last week? Like, was it Bates or Trufant?
No,
I mean, not Trufant. Why
no, it was what's his name? It was the linebacker number 53. I think it's Lannon.
Why did I say Trufant? Wow. You know, but
he got hurt. that MetLife Field. I don't know if it's just a matter of because people are talking about MetLife Field as a place where people get hurt a lot, or if it's just because it's, you know, right outside of New York and it just draws a lot of attention.
Of course, yeah.
But back-to-back drives, a Jet player got hurt, and then the next drive, the Atlanta player got hurt. I didn't check the status, but it was a non-contact injury. He was down. Everybody was on the knee. The Jet player got carted off the field. He got helped off. I think his name's Landman.
It can't be any worse than FedEx Field. You know, I tell you that much.
I think the stadium probably sucks, but FedEx Field is still grass, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The MetLife Stadium is that artificial grass that we were dealing with on when we were at Peterson with the pebbles and the hot that was like melting on our hands and stuff like that on push-ups. They have that. I'm pretty sure it's a better version of that than what an airplane gets, but it's just the better version.
That's still nasty.
Yeah, where you can just it's an open stadium, just put grass. Like it's if you were in a dome, I can understand because Arizona has it, but Arizona's on a track and it goes out, and like the track takes it, so the grass, but it's still real grass that they put out under the sun and water, whatever, and that's in Arizona. So if you can manage grass in Arizona, you definitely can manage grass in East Rutherford, New Jersey, in an open stadium. And if you're worried about concerts, just build a platform. Fiberglass platform that goes over it, and you put everything on top of that. Like, I mean, we have science for a reason. Use it. You have billions of dollars, and from this insurance company that's paying you with their name on it. Do it to it because, like, literally in the same basic region where Jalen Phillips tore his Achilles, where Aaron Rodgers got hurt, where the Jet player got hurt, Saquon Barkley got hurt there, Joey Bosa got hurt there. So, I mean, granted, everyone isn't getting hurt, but it seems to be all too common. So,
I'm laughing because Kawhi Leonard is 6 of 8 from the field with 16 points, and the Jazz starters are 7 of 21 with 19 points. And by the way, I don't know if you saw it, but OKC pulled that thing out. You know,
yeah, just watching Draymond cost Golden State that game again.
Yep, sure did.
Did you see what he did? When he fouled Holmgren, let him shoot the three. Like, why would you try to foul him? I think he was trying to get the foul. Maybe they had a foul to give. But like, you do that on the guy that's dribbling the ball, not a guy
not the
who's
guy
in the shooting position.
Right.
He plays like a dude that hasn't been to 6 NBA finals.
Well, I think he's like just old, tired, and frustrated.
That's his own fault.
He's just a
His
grumpy old
frustration is
man
his
at
own
this
fault.
point. Oh, I know. 35 degrees, maybe a little windy because the moniker. But the Lions are going into Chicago.
Wait,
And if
did you
this was
pick Tampa Bay?
not picked Atlanta. If
Okay.
if this was 2 or 3 years ago, I probably picked the Bears to win this game
With a
solely
who at
based on the
quarterback?
weather. Huh?
With a
What
who
what
at
what
quarterback?
what
2,
oh
3
what
years
oh
ago in Chicago?
no, I'm just saying, like I'm getting to a point here.
Yeah.
But Detroit can run the ball now. This season, Detroit can run the ball. They're fourth in the league in rushing, so the weather won't affect them in the way that it would have 2 to 3 years ago. The Bears, on the other hand, are third in the league in rushing. So who can establish the run? At the end of the day, Detroit's just better. I know Chicago pulled out the win against Minnesota on Monday night. When we saw them last, or at least when I can't even remember their game from last week. But
I think
point
they might have
being,
been on a bye last week.
yeah. So the last time we saw them, but point being, I'm taking Detroit. Chicago is still not necessarily winning these games because they are
Chicago's
taking the
awful.
games. They're winning the
They're
game. They
awful.
won that game because Minnesota gave it to them.
They are part of that same combination that we talked about. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast or we just talked about it in the conversation where I think the coaches, the offensive coaches, because the NFL likes points and people could say it's fantasy football or whatever. Everyone likes offensive touchdowns and big plays. And the best big play you can get on defense is a pick six. So they still
Right.
want points, like
Right.
a good sack or a good pass defense where you were beaten and then you recovered. That is a great play because you're on an island as a defensive back. And if you get beat and recover and still deflect the ball, like you literally saved the touchdown, that's exciting to the defensive
Mm-hmm.
staff, but
Mm-hmm.
not to the fan. And I think a lot of these coaches and a lot of these offensive play callers think that they just have it because the league wants it. And it's like, no, what you are doing is awful. As a fan, I like to sit at home. I like to sit, like, I've never been a defensive coordinator. I didn't play any high level of football. I just watched the games and I look and I was like, I could defend, I could come up with the scheme to stop most of these offenses. Like, realistic, like, I wholeheartedly believe because they don't do they don't use their weapons properly. Chicago started this year with Claypool, who runs about 6'4", 230.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He
Uh
gone.
Mooney, Mooney in the slot, he's like your him on a linebacker, him on a safety is a mismatch on any kind of option route, any kind of deep crossing route, even an out route, even a simple out route where he gives him a little shimmy, stab to the inside, and then cuts out. There's no safety that can keep up with him. And then you have DJ Moore, the number one wide receiver, who recorded a few years ago in the game against Atlanta. He recorded the fastest, like just like DK Metcalf last week, the fastest
Mm-hmm.
speed in a touchdown. I think his was like 21 or 22 miles an hour himself. So that's what you start. And then you got Cole Kmet in the middle. And Justin Fields, who's a running threat, and he's big, 6'3 and a half, 230. That's your offensive core.
They should be 9-4.
And they none of their play calls look as if they had that kind of talent or that size or
Their
that
play call
advantage.
looked like they got Pittsburgh's offense.
Their play calling looked like they
And
were a college team playing
and
up.
it feels just bails him out, when he's not fumbling.
Yeah, so
But yeah, I got Detroit though.
yeah, I got Detroit, Chicago. Like they should just stop. They should literally just stop winning games. They should put Justin
They
Fields
might
on ice.
they ain't gonna have
Put
much of a
Tyler,
choice.
put Bajan in. See what you have in him, because you're gonna draft Caleb Williams number one overall.
Mm-hmm.
You got a competent backup if you get him some reps over the last few games, and then if you stay at 4, because if you keep losing games, you'll be at 4, 3 or 4. If you win a couple, you might end up between 5 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
So try to stay at 1 with Carolina's pick, and 4 with your own pick. Get Caleb Williams. And if Marvin Harrison Jr. declares for the NFL draft, as we all suspect, try to make a move to where you get him. Maybe if you got to put DJ Moore in the deal to move him around, whatever you got to do, start a real rebuild. Get rid of your coach. Get rid of the defensive head coach. It's not doing you any good.
Mm-hmm.
Get you a good offensive play caller. Even if you have to like coax him out of college, if you gotta fleece him from another team. Go get. I mean, I know Kellen Moore had a good chance to really audition for a head coaching job, but what they're doing in LA is probably not healthy. But yeah, Detroit definitely is going to win this game simply because Chicago might be better off just losing anyway.
Well, like it's so crazy too because like I want to watch Chicago. Like I want to like you know what I
They
mean? Like
have they have the pieces to be entertaining. They have the pieces to be like I don't know what record I predicted this year. I can check my notes, but I was optimistic because I
mhm,
thought I thought they put Carolina through the ringer in that trade deal. I thought they stood strong
mhm.
and was like, yo, like a lot of say art of good business is, being a good middleman. And it's not a good deal if one person feels like they won. I was like, Chicago has to feel like they won that deal.
They
Because not
got
only
to,
they got the picks, they got DJ
unless
Moore, they got the move down and still got there. It just I felt like
unless
this was
Bryce
gonna be their
Young,
turnaround,
Bryce Young turns into Pat Mahomes mini.
which is
That's
unlikely.
how the Bears should feel. 32 for 37, 354 yards. And after all that, I'm
I'm
still
still
picking
picking it.
the Colts. I'm still picking the Colts to beat the
I'm
Bengals.
still, I'm still picking Indy also. I knew what you were talking about.
Yeah, like that was one of those games. It was the game of a lifetime. He can't replicate that. Gardner Minshew has filled in, and Shane Steichen. We're seeing Philadelphia now. We've talked about that. How Philadelphia's offense looks, and the conductor is now in Indianapolis. So,
True.
so the Colts have a chance to be in first place this week when it's all said and done, because of course, we'll get to Jacksonville in a minute. Houston should win, so we'll see. We'll get there. But I'm picking the Colts. I like what they're doing. He's my coach of the year so far. Unless the media try to sneak it for Mike McCarthy, but you know, we'll see. We'll see.
Mike McCarthy is in that same boat we talked about with Dak. Is like the expectations are always so high that the you don't really evaluate what's actually happening because the last 2 years, not counting this year, Mike McCarthy is 24-10. I'll
Mm-hmm.
take that.
Yep. So I don't know if the media is lying to me. I don't know if people are being told certain things, but word on the street is Trevor Lawrence is a game time decision. And for some reason, I refuse to believe that.
Absolutely. I saw it. I saw it happen live.
Yeah, I refuse to believe that.
You had
The
a
Browns,
330-pound man step on your right ankle with his
yeah,
right foot and bend you
right.
halfway over while you were getting landed on by somebody else.
And you couldn't do it. You couldn't get through the tunnel,
They're not
by
even gonna pack
yourself.
his shoulder pads.
Yeah. So I'm gonna still pick Jacksonville over Cleveland, and it's solely because Joe Flacco is the quarterback of Cleveland. Now, I will admit, he did throw some good balls last week, so to speak. Pause, all that stuff. He made some good passes last week, especially for a guy that was sitting on his couch the week before. So Cleveland is not dead. As we stand, they are 7-5. The Steelers are 7-6, and the Bengals are 6-6. So Cleveland is still in line for the playoffs. So they need this win. Jacksonville, we talked. I just talked about it. Houston and Indianapolis, both 7-5, only a game back. So any slip ups for Jacksonville, and it can go awry real quick depending on how long Trevor Lawrence is out.
Yeah. The irony of this season that I think is very exciting. I think, like we talked about college football, I think it's very exciting. I think the NFL's been very exciting. But when you look at the records, a lot of them are just like mediocre at best.
Yeah,
So many
yeah.
teams are mediocre. And some of those teams are leading, like I said, you got Atlanta leading the division, the whole NFC South. 9-8, maybe 8-9 might win that division. If you look at the AFC East, Miami's going to run away with it, but then you're going to get a wild card. I think it might be an AFC wild card. That's probably could potentially be 8-9. But more likely
9-8, yeah.
they're gonna be like a struggle 9-8. Like Buffalo's going to end up 9-8.
Well,
Buffalo
yeah,
has
like
not looked like a playoff team all year long, but they're going to get in at 9-8. So like it's just
well,
very
yeah. Just
weird.
looking at it right now, just looking at
Cleveland being 7-5 at this point of the year should be it. When you just broke down the Jacksonville quarterback out, Cleveland 7-5. I don't know the last time Cleveland's been 7-5 after 12 games.
well,
Maybe a
looking
few
at
years
this right now,
like,
looking at
nah,
this.
I don't want to pick them because
So here's your AFC. I'll stop at the Raiders. All
they're
right.
about 12, right?
So here we go. No, the Raiders are 9th, but here we go. I'm gonna just go through this real quick. So obviously you got the division leaders, but even as the division leaders, Jacksonville and Kansas City are both 8-4, right? So Cleveland 7-5, Indy and Houston 7-5, Pittsburgh 7-6, Denver 6-6, Cincinnati 6-6, Buffalo 6-6, Chargers 5-7, Raiders 5-7. That's your AFC playoff race. And oh, by the way, just in case you were wondering, Jets and Titans are 4-8. So they're still not necessarily out of it, depending on how these next few weeks go.
They just don't have the elements to really
be a factor.
The Chargers gave away a game or two throughout the year.
Well, I was going to get to that. We'll go out of order real quick because the Chargers played Denver this week. So I know in the preseason, I was higher on the Chargers than you. You were a little more higher on Denver, but for the Chargers, this is lights out. If they don't win this game on Sunday, I'm not saying Staley's going to get fired Monday. He should have been fired probably 4 or 5 weeks ago. But
he should have been fired He should have been fired not last season.
He should have been fired when they won. He should have been fired when they beat Minnesota. He should have still been
just
fired.
for going for it.
Yeah, he should have been fired then. But yeah. So I'm picking the Chargers to win, just because I feel that their playoff lives are on the line.
Yeah, but Denver's I haven't seen anything from them ever that replicates their play that goes commensurate with their intensity. I just don't see intensity. Like I don't see any fire out of Justin Herbert ever.
Denver
Have you ever seen any fire out of him?
Denver doesn't do anything that resembles offense. Like it's the same thing I said about the Bears. If Russell Wilson isn't saving them by scrambling around, keeping the play alive, running for the first down, they're inept. So
that's their offense, though. But
that's the thing. I don't know how many points they're going to put up on the Chargers.
But think about that's the thing. The Broncos have talent on offense.
Definitely,
it's not fluid, but it exists, and because of that, Russell Wilson is among the quarterback leaders in touchdowns. I think at this point it might be like 20 touchdowns and 4 picks, somewhere in that general range. 22 touchdowns, 4 picks, something like that. And it has been like that every week. He hasn't thrown for over 200 yards in a few weeks. If maybe last week at Houston he did, but I just don't feel like I never felt like the Sean Payton offense was
21-7.
21. Okay, it was 20. It was 20-4 going into Houston.
Okay.
So I think he went 1 touchdown, 3 picks last week or something along those lines. So 20-7. I don't know how many quarterbacks have thrown. This year has been really odd as far as
this year has been really, really awkward. Like I wonder if that's the effect of the preseason.
Nah, I think it's more
nobody's playing in
preseason
anymore.
I think it's the playmakers that they put on defense. I think, like we talked about this a couple weeks ago. You have a lot of hybrid guys playing linebacker, a lot of guys who could be safeties, who could be corners. Like the guys probably start off at college as a corner, maybe wide receiver corner. Then he comes in NFL early on. He's lined up as a safety, and they're like, "Listen, man, put on 15 more pounds and play like this hybrid safety linebacker position." You have guys like Myles Garrett. Being and then you have other defensive ends willing to be the opposite bookend. So you have Darius Smith, you got Chase Young and Bosa. You have a lot of teams that you think about Josh Allen and Trayvon. What's the guy in Jacksonville? So Josh Allen, the defensive end,
Trayvon
40,
Walker.
Trayvon Walker.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your draft, like teams are drafting that to have two bookend hybrid, just 6'4", 6'5" defensive ends.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of trouble. And then you keep it simple in the middle. You just get a big guy, Calais
So how
Campbell.
many quarterbacks do you think have 10 touchdowns? I mean, I'm sorry, 20 touchdowns right now.
20 passing or 20 total?
20 passing.
20 passing touchdowns. How many quarterbacks? 12.
I kind of gave it away with my question because I slipped up, but 10.
10? Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't hear the slip up. I just knew
Yeah.
that because I was looking at it because I'm big on the whole MVP odds and how I
Mhm.
don't like how it's basically a quarterback, award. And I was when the MVP odds probably like week 6 or 7 when they started to kind of ramp up and people were
Mhm.
moving. I was like, these quarterbacks that are moving. Kirk Cousins had like 18 touchdowns, like 3 or 4 picks when he got
Yeah,
injured.
I think he
He
still the
still
first
he
week
still
that he was out, yeah, he was still the
he
leader.
still was like third or fourth, in the
Mhm.
passing touchdowns after a couple of weeks after his injury. And then you have guys like Tyreek Hill who are out here getting 145 yards a week, and
Mhm.
AJ Brown 4 or 5 games in a row,
CD Lamb. Mhm.
125 yards and a touchdown. It was like 3 or 4 games in a row. It was like that was a record, but none of these guys are moving up the MVP ladder. Christian McCaffrey was going to touchdown every single game, but yet Brock Purdy was moving up the ladder. So I was
Yep.
really into that stat
Right.
when, so like I said, either it's just a matter of the wide receivers are starting to get paid, so you can't keep them you can't pair them up with a good quarterback. That's expensive. So you have Tua and Tyreek, but Tua's cheap. You have Keenan
Mhm.
Allen and Justin Herbert, but I think Keenan Allen's cheap. You got Garoppolo and Devontae Adams, but Garoppolo's cheap.
And he ain't
So
playing.
you should have a better combination. But Josh Allen leads the league in total touchdowns as a quarterback. He has Stephon Diggs. So it's just now that the players, the money, the way the money's being dispersed, I just think you're not going to have Patrick Mahomes and Devontae Adams getting $16 million a year. Patrick Mahomes getting 35 to 38.
Mhm.
Like these wide receivers are getting 26, 27, 28,
Mhm.
$30 million. So I think it's gonna because ultimately you could probably cover most of these other guys. Outside of your top 10, like Garrett Wilson's a very, very, very good wide receiver. He's just very good. Atlanta pretty much handle him. He's not breaking down your coverage. Justin Jefferson's breaking down your coverage. Jamar Chase is breaking down your coverage.
Jordan Addison's breaking down your coverage.
Jordan Addison. But Jamar Chase hasn't gotten paid yet. T. Higgins,
Mhm.
they were already talking about this last season before they came to this season that
Mhm.
they weren't going to be able to keep Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. So
Yeah,
next
Higgins is the
year,
odd man out.
Higgins is probably going to be gone. And then
He
Jamar
might
Chase
need
is
to
going
go
to
to
be
Chicago.
he might be up for some like he's going to be T. Higgins is going to be up for some good money
Oh yeah.
because like Kansas City doesn't have a single like threat, but they're gonna have to figure out a way. How do we what can we pay him? Because I don't know if he can
Right.
demand. I don't know if he can demand Devontae Adams money because he doesn't have that production because Joe Burrow got hurt. But he's not gonna be able to get nearly the amount of money he probably wants from Cincinnati because Jamar Chase is gonna be like, listen, look at my resume over the last few years.
Mhm.
Pay me what Devontae Adams is getting because I'm your franchise guy. You can't keep us both.
Right.
You're already paying Joe Burrow 250, 260. Vince Baltimore doesn't even have a franchise wide receiver because they.
Right.
So I think that lends itself more to why teams aren't scoring a lot of points because I don't have to guard anybody else. Look at LA, you got Cooper Cup, but they can't pay anybody else.
Mhm.
So defensively, their
I'm surprised
defense
they
is on
didn't
the
trade
field the
him.
whole time. I'm surprised too, but that was their only That's the only thing they have. That's the only combination they have is the
All
Cooper
right.
Cup. They thought Puka, was going to be it, but I'm like, yo, you can't replace what Cooper Cup is giving you over the last 3 or 4 years and
Right.
what he's giving the NFL over the last 4 or 5
Especially with a
years.
rookie.
What
But
a rookie.
I'm not gonna spend any time at all. I'm just gonna say Saints and Texans. It sounds like Derek
Taking
Carr.
Houston.
It
Oh,
sounds like
Saints and
Derek.
Texans.
No, the Saints and are playing
Panthers.
the Panthers. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, Derek Carr is expected to start. There was some question about that. Taysom Hill is questionable. Rashid
Shaheed.
Shaheed. Yeah, it's hard to say because it's
You
like
knew that,
so.
like, your parents, listen, y'all knew that when y'all gave birth to that boy, that his last name was Shaheed. You could have given any other
Yeah,
name.
at least like my man when he was playing at Duke. At least my
Amir.
man. At least my man Rashid name was Suleiman. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
so Rams. We talked about this the other day. A lot better than we thought that they were going to be.
Oh, yeah, man. I had him at 3-14.
They going to walk into my hometown and get a win?
I'm going to trust Baltimore
Mm-hmm.
because I think they just keep it simple. I think because as we just talked about, ad nauseum about the offense and not having weapons. Baltimore uses the weapons, quote unquote, that they have as best of their ability, but what they use mostly is like their culture. They just keep their culture on the field.
Baltimore guy eat culture.
And honestly, that's what it is. I think Lamar even recognized, like, you know what? Let's just go out here and win this game. Like,
Well,
Odell Beckham's like getting open, Bateman's like getting open. I don't have Andrews. That's like, if I go 13 for 26, it is what it is. But let's get this win.
Well, for me, it's the Rams flying cross country with Baltimore coming off a bye. That's the first thing that came to my mind when I looked at the schedule.
It's a 1:00 game too, right?
Yep, because you gotta look at the schedule. And as I was looking at the schedule, I saw a stat. Just playing around on the internets.
Hit me with the stat of the day.
Matt Stafford is the only quarterback out of 39 who have thrown at least 100 passes that has not fumbled the ball.
I saw that today too.
That changes this weekend. So I got Vikings over the Raiders. Both teams trying to stay alive. Minnesota probably has a better chance to get to the playoffs, but we can't deny that the Raiders have looked like a different team under Antonio Pierce. I'm not saying that they're good, but they look like they give effort. They look like they give effort now.
If the Jets scored 2 touchdowns out of their 6 red zone trips,
Was
they
that
lose that game.
If was a fifth?
I mean, Zach Wilson stepped out of bounds on one of his touchdown runs. He literally ran like 30 yards. Like, I get it. It looks like a rejuvenated.
It looks like they got effort. I'm not saying that they're good. I'm not saying that they're going to go on a run. They just play with effort now.
We use the Air Force a lot. If you didn't train for your PT test, right? And it's a 6 laps, you got your mile and a half. I don't know what it is now, they changed it, but back in our day, back in the old head day, it's a mile and a half.
Still a mile and a half.
Mile and a half. So after the 3rd lap, somebody give you a Gatorade and you chug that Gatorade and you look great on that 4th lap. But you're not prepared to run the 6 laps. Yeah, it's gonna look dope because you got that little surge because somebody gave you a little lemon lime Gatorade in a cup.
Oh, that's what people was doing.
No, I'm just saying, like, if somebody just like sometimes you get people to help you, your coworkers come out there because you always struggle. That's what the Raiders are. You got the little joke. Somebody gave you a little cup of Gatorade. The weather's nice. Yeah, it's a oddly warm day in November. You can run around and take this test. But when it comes down to it, when laps 5 and 6 come around, that cramp hits. It was cute for a minute. You thought you had a chance, but you're just ill prepared. And I think the Raiders are ill prepared.
So I take it that you're taking Minnesota as well.
Yeah, I'm going to take Minnesota.
All right, here we go. We all in life, no matter who you are, even Mr. Logical,
absolutely,
we all have some kind of weak spot. And my weak spot is crazy football coaches that say the wildest shit that they could get their brains to come up with.
I didn't even look into this because I want to talk about it with you because I knew you were going to break it down.
Yes.
What happened?
So I got to pull this up and get the quote, man. I can't even do it justice. But but let me continue. So we all have our weak spots. We all make decisions that we aren't necessarily proud of. We come back, after the fact, and we're like, what was I thinking? And that's where I find myself right now picking the Buffalo Bills to go into Arrowhead for the second year in a row and beating the Kansas City Chiefs, because I'm just not there with Kansas City right now.
I'm torn as well. I haven't made my mind up yet. I think I'm gonna make it up after we have this conversation.
Yeah, like I'm just that's where I am right now. So basically the point that he was trying to make, I don't want to search forever, but basically he was trying to make the comment of the 9/11 hijackers
Oh my god,
had to come together
disgust me just hearing
and
it.
yes, and work together so well to pull this off. So why not us? Is basically kind
And
of where he
you're
was going
a
with that.
coach of the team in New York
In
State.
New York State. Uh-huh.
I was talking to Chris. Shout out to Chris. Um, and I said to him, I'm like, yo, he could have used SEAL Team 6 as his example because catching bin Laden for years seemed like it was impossible. Like, that would have been a better and more useful and more relatable teamwork uh reference analogy. And he hit me
Mhm.
back. He was like, I said the same thing to my wife. He could have just used SEAL Team 6. Why would you use
So so here's part of the quote. So the message was we need to come together. So some of the sources that were in this report said that he cited the hijackers as a group of people that were able to get on the same page to orchestrate attacks to perfection. One by one, he started asking the players in the room, what tactics do you think they used to come together?
Oh
Yo,
man.
I repeat, I do not want any of whatever he was smoking that day.
Man, I
Well,
drink.
he must have had
And
that
I've been in some
Fontoed.
situation where I know I've crossed the line with some of the stuff I've said under the influence of alcohol. And I'm a bit of I could be a bit abrasive in arguments. So I know I might have pushed the boundaries with I might have insulted someone's intelligence from time to time. I'm not gonna lie. I've never said anything this dumb in my life.
Yo, like he must have had
I've been
some of that.
legally drinking for 23 years.
He must have had some of that Fonto that Nas wanted from Hit Boy on Full Circle. I don't want none of that. But
Like
I'm
literally,
picking.
if you're gonna associate terrorism and teamwork, just use SEAL Team 6 or Pat Tillman or anything else in the history of
Just
American war,
just use
not the 9/11 hijackers.
just use Israel and everybody will clap for you. Um, so so so
It has to be
Buffalo
better than 9/11 attackers.
so Buffalo went into Arrowhead last year and won 24-20. That was coming off the heels of the infamous playoff game that changed the overtime rules, and the Bills haven't won a playoff or overtime game since. This is a must-win for both teams. I know Kansas City is in first place. I know that they're 2 games up on Denver, but the way that they've looked the last couple of weeks, the drop on Monday Night Football, getting manhandled by Green Bay last week. They have to come out and reassert
They got
themselves.
out swagged by Green Bay for
Yes, they need
sure.
to
I don't
come
want to
out
say
and
out coached, but definitely got out swagged. Like
yeah.
they played with a Kansas City swag. That
They
pass that
need
Jordan Love threw up in the middle of the field in the triple coverage and the cover three to Dobbs,
vintage Mahomes.
vintage
You,
back
you,
foot. He out there somewhere.
but so this is the question that I have. I feel that if Buffalo wants them, short, quick passes will be there to be had. But will Josh Allen take
Won't throw
them?
him.
That's the
Won't throw him.
question. That's the
Won't
question.
throw him. Not at all.
No, our guy, Sports Reports is ordered favorite player, Pacheco is out. You
That's gonna
know,
be
uh,
tough.
that's going to be tough. And as is, Buffalo's top 5 in the league, 4.4 yards per carry, Kansas City 4.3. I think that Kansas City's defense is good enough to keep Buffalo's offense at bay. I just don't know with the way that Kansas City, especially in the second half, they are last in the league in fourth quarter points per game. And we all remember they went scoreless in that second half against Miami.
They went scoreless 3 weeks in a row, and I think they got one
Oh, there you
score in the
go.
second half, like last week. Yeah, they haven't looked good. I mean, short of like just giving the ball to Kelsey as a fullback, I don't know what else you could do. I want to pick them just because I'm picking them because it's Arrowhead,
Right.
and just because, like I said, like we're gonna finish up this
But would you pick
podcast.
Kansas City? Would you pick Kansas City if Joe Burrow was coming in there this week?
Probably not.
Burrowhead.
Probably not. I probably like a healthy Burrow. I would pick them. But I'm probably gonna after this podcast finish recording, I'm gonna turn my chair, grab my Xbox controller, play a little Madden.
Oh, I'm definitely
Even
getting onto
guys,
the NCAA 14.
even guys who play with Buffalo on Madden don't throw it short. Like I'm not even. It's hilarious.
It's programmed.
It's hilarious. They're like, oh, he has a cannon. I just play cover 3. I play cover 3. I spy Josh Allen, and he'll roll out and he'll try to throw it deep. And my spy will be like, all right, he's rolled out far enough, and the spy come down. And I just lurk with the safety or defensive end out the other end. But everybody throws it deep. Mm-hmm. Nothing across the middle. It's just deep. All deep shots.
All the
all
time.
Game. 4th and 1, he's going deep. So it's like even the fans and the people who play the game take on identity. Josh Allen's not going to throw short passes. Yeah. Kansas City gets up 10-0. They could discombobulate completely on the sideline. I don't know how volatile
unless they've been studying the terrorist.
I mean, I don't want to say it.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I don't want to get his. I don't want to get his canceled when we get sponsored.
I mean, at least Sean McDermott didn't tell Josh Allen, "You're a weapon of mass destruction. Act like it." You know, like he could have went that route. You know, but anyway, we're gonna move on from that.
Yeah, we're gonna get canceled.
As I feel myself
episode.
As I feel myself getting sick to my stomach. I feel myself getting sick to my stomach, deep in my bowels, because I'm picking the Dallas Cowboys. I'm picking Dallas to beat Philadelphia. It's with a sad heart that I come to you like this. Dallas has a 14-game home winning streak, including 6-0 at home this year, outscoring their opponents at home this year by an average of 41-16. Philadelphia, like you mentioned, discombobulated. Jalen Hurts just hasn't looked right all season. You know, they should have lost to Buffalo a couple of weeks ago. You know, they came out last week. San Francisco just put the hurt on them, and
they could be bored.
They could be. They very well could be. And Dallas could wake them up.
Talented that they don't. They know the answers to the exam. So they're just going to show up.
Seeing that star could wake them up. You know, it could wake them up.
Potentially, but Dallas hasn't beaten a team with a above 500 record all year. And they lost to Arizona early this year to give Arizona their first win, which knocked me out of my survival pool. So
which team is going to get the start? That's the question for me. Which question is going to get off to the good start? Because they both are league leaders, like, you know, within the top 5.
I'm going to say Philly. I'm going to say Philly because I got Philly. I trust their 2 big play wide receivers. Not that I don't think Dallas wide receivers are good. I just think that what Philly does offensively, running the ball, controlling the line of scrimmage, Jalen Hurts doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. He stays very even-keeled. The team I won't say behaves. The team takes on that same kind of moxie.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Dallas, you can kind of see the ebbs and flows of all the emotions. You see it on Jerry Jones. If they miss a field goal, and they pan up to Jerry Jones in the box, he has like a very like visceral reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
No matter, it could be in the second quarter. They could be up 7-3 and they just need to kick this field goal to go up 10-3, and they'll miss it, and he'll do like one of these, like he'll like hit the desk, or like somebody on the sidelines, like, it's just like the whole here we go again, was
Mm-hmm.
me kind of reaction, and I don't really see that in Philly. That's why they were able, because after the after Buffalo went up 3, Stephon Diggs was doing this to the Eagles sideline. Like, your dog, it's a minute and 27 seconds left. It's not 27 seconds left. And even with that, you guys had a lead of 3 points with 13 seconds left a year and a half ago. So it's just like you have to, and I think for some reason, I think there's like a lack of maturity on, in certain situations. So whereas Philly has that maturity.
Mm-hmm. Well,
The
it
coach
sucks to
doesn't have it at all, but the
it sucks to
quarterback
be
does, and I think people rally around the quarterback.
it sucks to be Jerry Jones, in that way because he watched Philly win a Super Bowl some years ago. He watched Philly go to the Super Bowl last year, and his Arkansas Razorbacks ain't been shit since. Yeah, there you go.
Jeremy
So
McFadden.
Dolphins over the Titans. I don't need to waste a lot of time on that either. That goes without saying. Then Monday
True.
night, I got confused because I thought that Miami and Tennessee was Monday night, but I guess it's Green Bay and the Giants.
I didn't even have Miami and Tennessee written down. Must have missed
Oh,
it.
yeah, I missed the Green Bay and the Giants, but yeah,
That's
so
the Monday game.
I'm going Green Bay, but I was tempted to pick the Giants, but I just couldn't get there. I think Jordan Love's on a roll. He's hitting his groove now.
People here love the story. Tommy
Yeah,
DeVito, local kid. He literally grew up 10 minutes from the stadium, getting the start. I think people in Jersey, because Giants fans know the season's over. They knew it was over when Daniel Jones hurt his neck and then came back and then with tore his ACL.
I
They
knew it
knew the
was over as
season was
soon as
over.
Daniel Jones threw his first pass of the season.
I knew it was over when they didn't get Saquon Barkley $22 million. It was like,
Well,
yeah.
there's that too. There's that
So,
too.
um, but local kid, literally from down the street from the stadium, still stays at his mom's crib. She cooks some Italian food or whatever the case. So I think the Giants fans is kind of like just holding on to that. Green Bay looked very good. Matt LaFleur seemed to get his swag back last week with his play calling. Not sure about Christian Watkins with the hamstring. Like I said, I've never been fast enough to pull a hamstring, so it must be terrible for your body to betray you in such a way.
Yeah, those
Soft tissue injury.
Yeah, there you go. I was waiting for it.
That was my shot phrase earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll take Green Bay. I like the way Jordan Love is playing. I'm sick of people keep trying to compare him to Aaron Rodgers and make it seem like he's learned so much from Aaron Rodgers. Just let him be Jordan Love.
Yeah. Exactly. So, but those are our picks for this week. Let us know in the comments what you agree with, what you disagree with. Let's go to war. Let's talk about this. Not really go to war. I'm not on no Sean McDermott shit. I'm just saying.
I can't believe of all the examples. I mean, you could have used the Temptations, the Jackson 5. You could have used NSYNC. You could have used any group combination ever that was successful. And you decided to use the dudes that literally have had us in war.
Next thing you know, Diggs gonna be getting up talking about nobody sang like Stephon Diggs.
Oh,
what I'm saying? So
so
as you see it on the screen, it's time to talk about the thing that I guess Mr. Logical likes. So let's talk about this in-season tournament.
This is something that I heard because we don't talk about LeBron a lot in our podcast.
Let's do it. Let's talk about LeBron because he was awesome last night. And go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about this ridiculous question that if the Lakers were to win this in-season tournament, where does that blah 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 for LeBron?
Jordan
blah,
never
blah,
had
blah,
he never won it.
Jordan never had that. I was like, oh my god, are we this? Is this what we're doing?
What I thought about last night? I
Can
thought
we talk
about you
about
actually.
Can
I
we
thought
talk
about
about
you.
Tyrese Halliburton out here killing the Eastern
Well, I'm gonna
Conference?
get to that. But I was thinking about you last night because LeBron did his magical thing. He had 35-5 in 23 minutes. Nobody has ever done that before, even though
Why
like
they keep mentioning stuff like that?
I don't know, because I'm sure Jokic had a triple double that was like in like 12 minutes or something crazy
Luca
like
had a
that a few
triple
years ago.
double the other night and didn't play the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and
It
so
happens.
so like LeBron, I wonder to some degree, and I'm not questioning him as a competitor, but I wonder if he's putting so much into this in-season tournament because he know they aren't going to win the real tournament.
I don't think that's the case. I think it's just a matter of
Like, they haven't even lost a game yet.
I think he really likes just being better than everybody else has been in the league this entire time he's been in the league. I think he enjoys that every night since 2003, I've been better than most of you.
Okay.
And
Okay. I was waiting for you. I was about to jump on you. I was
yeah,
waiting.
like I mean, early on, obviously he didn't come out the gate. He wasn't better than Kobe first out the gate. He wasn't better than Tim Duncan first out the gate. But when he hit his stride, it was like, I'm just better than all of you. And no one can really argue that. Like, yeah, Steph has a nice little run where he got a few rings. I'm
No,
not
no,
knocking it.
no. We're not considering
But
him for this.
we're not. No, I'm not going bananas. But he just
Yeah,
knows.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's like, I have the most points all time, most minutes all time. I'm gonna be the only dude. I'm the only dude with like 20,000 points, 10,000 rebounds,
Nobody
10,000
has tied
assists.
their shoes on the court more than me. Nobody's bit
No,
their fingernails on the
I
court more
mean,
than
he's
me.
in year 21. I think he just knows. And like you gotta keep in mind, like these young dudes keep coming at him 4 or 5 years ago. Guys were coming at LeBron 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago that aren't in the league anymore. Or not, or definitely not
Hey,
in
you know who's coming
rotations
at LeBron?
anymore.
You know who's coming at LeBron? Ime Udoka is coming at LeBron.
And he had more points his rookie year than Ime Udoka had his whole career. So it's
You know what I'm
like
saying?
he has that. So it's
Stop
like,
crying like bitches.
and then on top of that, so I think it's just one of those things where I think he just really wants to just ride this out because
Mhm.
we got to the end of retirement. You got to 17, 18 years. And we were talking about what we wanted to do after like 22 years. Like, I want to be a first sergeant. I want this. And it's like, we
Right.
want to keep going. But the Air Force is like, listen, we need a 14-year master sergeant to take these jobs. You guys are 18. I think I
Right.
was 19 years when I interviewed to be a first sergeant. 18, 19 years. So I think like that. It was like they took the guy who was at 16 years
Mhm.
because they can guarantee he's going to
More return on
do
investment.
more return. He's going to get at least 4 years. Me, I could have clicked the button 1 year after being a shirt because there's no retainability requirement. After I hit 20, you can do whatever I want. So they took the guy who was at 16 years. So I think he's looking at like, yeah, I'm at 21 years in this league. Maybe he plays next year and Bronny gets on the team
Well, I
somehow
was
and they
just
get
going
to
to
play
say that. Shout
together.
out to Bronny. He's going to play this weekend. Sunday he'll make his debut, so I'm looking forward to that. Glad to see him back. First,
Did they move the
obviously,
game so that LeBron could play in the tournament and go see the game?
I don't know, and I don't
Because I
give a
heard
fuck.
something that he was like gonna miss
Yeah,
the
he said.
game.
Yeah, he said he would miss a game to go see that, but I don't give a fuck. We talking about basketball right now. Fuck all that. But anyway, so
Talk about family. I'm leaving.
we
I'm
talking
seeing this
about
tournament.
basketball. You talking about
I'm going.
family? You
Yeah,
talking
I'm going
about
to see
family?
that. Listen, I was
But
deployed reading books to my son over Zoom in his whole class. So
but yo,
I
I still
understand
don't like
family.
the in-season tournament. But I will say two things. According to Brian Sampson over at Forbes, the Friday night games, the ratings went up 24% from last season at this time. So okay. Second thing,
That's substantial.
it is. It's very substantial. Second thing is that they probably got as perfect of a Final Four as they could have without manipulating anything. You got LeBron James, you got Giannis, you got Tyrese Halliburton, who in this tournament is averaging 28 points, 5 boards, 13 assists, basically 2 steals,
His
shooting
parents were going
51%.
nuts. His
Yeah,
parents were going nuts in the stands last night. That's dope.
shooting 51% from the floor, as a point guard, and Zion. So, like you got the
Don't
best.
don't sweat on Brandon Ingram,
you
Mr.
got
Sleepy
you,
Eyed himself.
you got basically almost the best Final Four you could have got, not including if you would have got the Warriors against the Lakers, or
Or
if
if
you would
you
have
would
got
have
the
got the
defending champions.
Celtics.
Yeah, you would have got the defending champion Nuggets, or if you had a Laker. Imagine if we had a Lakers Celtics final. You know what I mean? Like that would just
Yep.
make so much sense with the
It
history
would
of the
just be
game.
chaos. They would have
Yes.
Larry Bird and Magic Johnson at the game doing the
Yes.
opening tip.
But I still don't like it. I don't like the courts. I told you last night, the courts look like a bad.
I thought Mike was like the only one that really didn't like the court, and that was like I said, I was at the bar last night. The bar owner and another guy was like, "Man, I hate the floor." There's it's just an ISO. It's just hard. It's hard to watch.
Well, there's
with
two
the
things.
floor.
Three things. There's 3 things at play here. One, it just looks amateur. Two, half of the time I can't even tell which teams are playing because the colors don't even involve the team scheme.
And that's what they were saying. It's hard to watch because you don't. It's just a hard watch.
I'm sad that the Wizards' best uniforms are their tournament uniforms. And it really is. And then the third thing is just not that it's distracting, but it was like when I first saw Oregon's court with the trees on it.
I didn't like the tree.
I was like,
it looked off.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. It feels
like
they're playing in space.
I like the fact that they did it. I like the fact that it came out.
I like the fact that they did something different.
They did something different.
But I just don't like what they did.
The colors with other teams were were a little better. I saw some of the other games.
I don't like one court. There wasn't one court that I liked.
Well, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna use them again next year? Because it seems to be. I've talked to 3 or 4 people about these floors in particular, and I'm the only one that likes them. So I'm pretty. If that's the consensus, if 3 out of 4 people don't like the floor, and the end season tournament is over now, you're not going to use it for the rest of this season. What are you gonna use it next year? Or
I would imagine that you're just going to have different floors every year, like still like the same concepts, or let's be different, but just something different.
Maybe I guess hopefully it's easy to edit these things and maybe repaint them, or if they got to just completely buy
or
30 new floors, that'd be
like every year
hilarious.
They come out with every year there's like new city uniforms, and there's new.
They're so ugly. They're so ugly.
They are.
So boring,
they really
so
are. Like the ones that
I don't know how they keep signing off on it.
The ugliest ones were the best ones, which were those ones that Utah had, the black, red, and orange. Like those things were ugly, but I loved them.
I don't know what.
The Suns when the Valley,
the Cavaliers ones are plain. I just don't like the fact that they're plain.
Yeah, but
you should just stick to the regular jersey. Like I don't need all this other stuff.
As far as the tournament itself goes, the actual play on the court, I've seen some players saying all the right things. I've seen some players bigging it up and saying that they're enjoying it. Dame Lillard was speaking out positively about it. I didn't feel that way until the Pacers-Bucks game last night. That was the first time I watched the play-in tournament and was like, this game is intense, or, this moment, or like whatever. Like the fourth quarter when it started, Milwaukee fell apart down the stretch, but it was like, hey, these teams want to win this thing. And then I was like, so the championship is in Vegas tomorrow, and now all these Indiana fans got to try to get to Vegas, if they want to be there. It's gonna, the Laker fans are going to be there because they got the bandwagon everywhere. So the Laker bandwagon,
and it's only a 3.5-4 hour drive. You're good.
Yeah. So it's still like basically a Laker home game. But I was tinkering around with some ideas. So I don't never come in here without some questions for you. So I got a couple of ideas. So what do you think if, and I'm not saying I support these things, I'm just saying that they just came into my mind because I haven't fully thought them through. But so soccer, we talked about soccer. They have, or football, they have their tournaments throughout
Football.
their season, like the Premier League, but they still break off for like the Champions League. They do the Europa Cup, all that kind of stuff like that. So
They
how would
break
you
off for the Euros, like European tournaments, if there's
Yeah,
one.
so how would you feel if the play-in tournament was kind of spread out like that versus being all at one time like that?
I like it all at one time. Keeps people motivated, keeps people into it. You get but to me, I'm a limited series, Netflix, Prime Video, HBO Max kind of viewer.
Mhm.
I want 8 episodes. I want them boom, 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 boom. Either you give them to me, you give them one day once a week, or you drop all 8 at once, like Netflix normally does. Prime normally does like one a week. Um, HBO Max, they do about they'll drop like 2 or 3 and then give you five, the
Well, I guess
5
that throws
following
out my
weeks.
second I guess that throws out my second question then.
Yeah, so
'Cause
I
my
like
second
it.
question was gonna be, should the championship game be like the last game of Christmas or on New Year's or something along those lines?
Nah, give it to me all now. I want the beginning, the climax, and the end. I want
Okay.
resolution. And then that way we're just done with it.
Mhm.
Because you know how it is with sports when you come up with this new thing, they try to drag it on and on. Like like the new overtime rules for that got implemented last year after Buffalo Bills petition.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
talked about it every single time a game went to overtime. They talked about it all year long. When we get to the playoffs, the rules are gonna be different. When we get to the play, and like I don't think a game went into overtime in the playoffs. I can recall, but it just kind of dragged. Like that conversation just dragged on and on and on.
So
If there was an in-season tournament and today was established that the Lakers are going to play Indiana, but I got to go 18 more days of people talking about the championship for the in-season tournament, it would just be exhausting.
what do you think about for the pool play? What do you think if there were sites so that the pool play games were neutral games versus being home and away? So like this
Uh,
pool plays in
if
LA,
if
this pool plays in like whatever.
if the home court advantage in NBA games was as prominent as a home field advantage in like a college football game,
Mhm.
then I would go with that. Like I wouldn't have, say for instance, this college football playoff. If it was down to these 4 teams and they only played the championship at a neutral location, I wouldn't like that because I wouldn't want, Alabama. Not necessarily I wouldn't want it, but I think the home field advantage for Michigan, if Alabama had to go to Ann Arbor, would just be. I mean, granted they're a talented team, but to have that kind of because you're not going to get enough.
Or if you were like Washington and you had to go play Texas and Louisiana.
Something like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it just if you're gonna have this overarching tournament, either you keep it as simple as possible, which is we're gonna do home and away, pool play, we'll lock it in, and then the championship is gonna be neutral since everybody's playing home and away in all the pools, and then the only neutral non like the only neutral site is the
Mhm.
championship game. That works because that doesn't require additional logistics.
So the one thing that I did like about the in-season tournament is, going back to Tyrese Halliburton for a second. I think I like the exposure that the younger players got. I
Yeah.
saw the Rockets a little bit more than I probably would have. I saw, and I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the Pacers are like this year's version of the Kings. Because they ain't going to
That's
defend
that's a
nobody.
perfect example.
Because they ain't going to
Halliburton
defend
is
nobody.
2023, 24. De'Aaron Fox, he's definitely going to be an all-star. He's coming into his own, but they're always in trade talks when the trade deadline. They always use their players as trade fodder. So I don't know if the in-season tournament victory over LA tomorrow helps Indiana as far as like gives them confidence, or does it help people leverage like a trade scenario because like,
Well, I
oh,
haven't even
look what
thought
they did in
about
the
that
tournament.
because I can't really find a scenario that they win.
Sometimes it could be NCAA tournament style where
It could be.
you just have a guy that just we talk about players getting the yips and just not being able to, we talk about some of these young guys that got drafted are shooting like 22% from three, and but when a guy's feeling it, you've seen those games when those guys when Damian Lillard scores 71, Mitchell
Mhm.
scores 70, Booker, they shoot that many shots all the time. They
Right.
shoot like Jokic went 9 for 32 yesterday. So he put up 32 shots.
Mhm.
On a day, if he was feeling it, if he would have gone 22 for 32 or 24 for 32 with some, mixing some free throws, a couple of threes there, that could be like 55. Like that's probably like 56, 57
Mhm.
points. And it's not a crazy stat line to make 22 out of 32 shots because when those guys are hot, that's what it is. So if you
Mhm.
get a guy like, Therese Halliburton, and he's feeling it, and Austin Rivers can't guard him, and Cam Reddish can't guard him, and AD can't meet him at the rim because he's in foul trouble or whatever. Just
Or because
and
Miles Turner stretching it out.
Miles trying to stretch him for, and he just gets on one, and he's running you down for like 16 in the first, like just getting on to a hot start. Because it's
Mhm.
not crazy. People, if you think about it, getting a backdoor cut for a layup is 2 points. You get
Mhm.
fouled, that's 2 points. You shoot a three, 2 points. That's three. That's four made baskets. A layup, two free throws, and one three. You're already at 7 points. If you get a good screen and you get it open, you get an open look. NBA players with an open look, and you're feeling it. You're feeling it this whole week. You're feeling the whole vibe. You're feeling the inaugural, you know, in season tournament champions. If that's like the moment you're trying to encapsulate, that moment you're trying to grab, I could see a guy really going off. LeBron, like I said, he's been to Finals MVP 4 times. He's been in
Mhm.
10 NBA Finals. He's been in battles in Eastern Conference. He's been on some of the highest. He's been in the
It's just another
comebacks.
cherry
He's
to
been to
put on the
Boston,
top.
and or it's just another game that he might get up for on like a personal level. Like I want to go out here and ball. Whereas the Pacers, a young team, are like, yo, we want to go out here and prove something.
Mhm.
That's the difference.
Right. And, shout out to the Jazz, only because I'm watching the game right now. It popped into my head.
Hmm.
But, I love going back to the Delta Center. It should have never not been the Delta Center.
The
You
Vivint
know,
Arena.
yeah, Vivint Arena. There was some other stuff too. But Kawhi Leonard with 32 at the end of three, 5 for 6 from three. Jazz down by 12. James, 15 now. James Harden just hit a three. But yeah, so like I said, I did love the exposure. Like I said, I felt like I saw the Kings a lot. Which coming off of last year makes sense. The Rockets I saw a lot. I saw Cleveland a few times. So,
Yeah.
so they did a good job, a better job, I guess, of spreading the wealth than they normally do in the regular season schedule, because I'm sure once this in-season tournament is over, that's the end of Indiana. Like you might see them in February when
Or
they go.
is it more or is it a launch pad? Is
Well, I
this
mean, for
something that
next
really
year, but they don't flex in the NBA, so so maybe next year. But you might see Indiana again in February when they go to Madison Square Garden or something, or
are you talking
you
about
might
having them on TV and all of that?
like now, like yeah, like they're not going to get the benefit of it this season. It'll be next year that you may see them a little bit more, But hey, back in July, right after the finals, 2-5 came here and he said, the empire is fallen. The Warriors are over. I did not expect it to look like this. 5-6 at home, 5-6 on the road, consistency at least,
Yeah.
but I did not expect Golden State to struggle at home, especially coming off of the road games that the road record that they had last year, 11-30, I believe, if I remember correctly.
I think it was a lot of hope that they wouldn't struggle, but they don't really like if you think about the pieces they have, they don't have the pieces not to struggle. Like where's their threat defensively? Where's the threat? Like who do you fear? Who do you not attack when you have the ball in your hand? You attack every single player on the floor all day long. Draymond's a smart defender, but just play him downhill.
Mm-hmm.
Collins was doing everything he can to guard. What's the boy name?
You talk
Yo,
about
Sexton is fast. Yeah, trying to guard Harden. Sexton, he got
yeah,
the floor in a heartbeat.
yeah.
So like, yeah, it just this is it. Like I said multiple times,
Well,
this might be my new shot, thing. But it's like this is a young man's game. Eventually, in a game, the 15 at the gym with bounce passes and cuts and screens, yeah, me, you, and some other, some 35-year-olds, maybe one 27-year-old, we might be able to get a couple of wins. But if you get some kids out there that's just 19 years old and they get every rebound and just run.
yo, that was the worst. Like being 5'9", when I was in Arizona and I hit like 37, we would go play and they go, yo, you got him. And I'm like, I got the point guard.
I got
And
the 17-year-old kid.
yeah, it's like, yeah, you're the shortest one. And it's like, damn it. I mean, it helped me stay in shape, but still,
Yeah,
like I was
I'm a
just,
stocky dude, so I was like, yo, I got big man.
you know
So
what I
I
mean?
take the
But
big man, and he'll had a height on me. I mean, he'll had a height on me, but I'm listen, you're gonna get all of this
yeah.
forearm. See all this?
you
You're getting all that in your hip
but
and thigh.
but
But yeah, so like right
back
now,
to the
the
Warriors though,
NBA
it
is a
doesn't
young
help.
man's game,
Well, it doesn't
and
help
they're
that
old.
Clay. Well, it doesn't help that Clay. We saw how the Warriors went out against the Lakers last year, and Klay Thompson has basically continued that. He's shooting 39.7 from the floor, not from three, from the floor, and he's shooting 34.8 from three. So
Their loyalty is a gift and a curse. The
yes,
loyalty kept it together, and they won a lot of rings.
I mean, I
They
might have
played a
kept
lot of
Jordan
big
Poole.
games.
I might have kept Jordan Poole and told Draymond to hit the bricks.
Yeah, but if you seen how Jordan Poole was acting out in Washington, it's like
Well,
I
yeah,
think
he's in Washington. He wouldn't act like that in Golden State.
I think that's intrinsic. I think that's just
Maybe,
who you are. I think you
maybe.
just some people like everybody isn't wired like
But when you're
Dame Lillard.
losing, that's the shit that, like you said, like you what you said before. You said something along the lines of, they say money changes you, but it just makes you more of who you
More
are.
of who you are, yeah.
That's what losing does. When you're winning, everybody's chill, everything's good, besides the fact that you got punched in the face. But but for the most part, everything is good. Winning cures everything. You put these guys on these teams like the Wizards that are like 3-17 or something like that right now. He don't know how to act. Like he's never been through that before. Especially when it's one thing when you get drafted to a team like that, you have a certain frustration that you have to get over. But he won a title, and then
Yeah, but I don't think it's a frustration thing. I think it's a matter of like it's an investment.
he just
Like I don't think
immature.
I think he's immature. I think he just hasn't worked on his craft. I just feel like he plays basketball because he's on a basketball team. Just because that's what he does.
Yeah, he just can.
He just happens to be able to play basketball. So if, say for instance, say Washington cut him at the end of the season, you think he's gonna be out here trying hard, working out, trying to prove to the next team that
No, he gonna tell
survived within
somebody,
it?
just give me. He just gonna go to like somebody's training camp and say, just give me
He
the
just
fucking rock.
he seems like someone that would just go get a reality TV show.
Yo, this in season tournament is so wild. Like the Pacers, we were talking about the Pacers, made the final, haven't lost a game yet in the tournament, and their overall record is 12-8.
Just
It
like
makes no
Phoenix
sense.
Suns.
It makes no sense.
Because
No,
I
so the
think people
Suns,
they get up for it.
yeah,
So I'm with
I
it.
saw the Suns were complaining about a call the other night. Did you
The
see that?
timeout call, it
Yeah,
was
which
close. It
was
was
bullshit. It was bullshit. I think it's one of those things that it's a superstar call. I think it falls under the file of superstar call. I think that if it was Cam Reddish trying to call the timeout,
Trying to call the timeout.
yeah, I don't think that goes
You
down
don't
that
think it gets
same way.
granted?
Yeah, I don't think it goes down that same way.
I remember I was watching it because were we recording? I think we might have just finished.
Yeah, I think we just finished. It was in the fourth quarter when we were wrapping up.
Yeah, but I keep the iPad here on mute. So, same thing with the TV, just for background ambiance. I have the live games on the iPad. And I seen it. So good D. After we finished the recording, I just left it on. I was like kind of cleaning up, getting settled for bed. And I seen it happen. And then I seen Coach's Challenge, and I realized like I knew even with the sound off what was happening, because it looked like one of those situations where you were expecting a timeout call that didn't happen, and I was like, he didn't have the ball. You can't call a timeout during a loose ball. But then Grayson Allen, maybe he would have charged the ball differently if the whistle didn't blow, because like I said, didn't have the sound. It looked like when he touched the ball, it was on the line already.
Yeah, one thing that I didn't expect this season, we knew they weren't going to be good. We knew they weren't going to make the playoffs. I did not have the Spurs going through a 16-game losing streak.
They're awful. And all this, and like, I don't know what. Now that you and I are fellow hosts, I'm gonna say co-hosts, like my boy, we're fellow host. You and I didn't say anything about Victor Wembanyama being a bust if his career ends up like Kevin Durant. Did you hear people say that?
I've heard that.
I've heard that. I've heard that he's the best prospect since LeBron James.
I've heard that. I heard the same about Imani Bates at one point.
But I'm looking at the games, and I'm like, I know I'm not a scout, but he doesn't move like so like incredible that he can't be guarded. Like LeBron looked like a man amongst boys.
Besides
Kobe,
the fact that he keeps trying to shoot threes and
because
isn't a good shooter.
He has no strength to battle through. Like Horton Tucker is probably, he looks 40, but he's only like probably sure in his 20s. But some of these guys are just solid. Like he can't fight through Kawhi Leonard.
But I am happy with.
He can't even fight through Chet Holmgren.
I am happy with his former teammate that the Wizards drafted, Koulibaly. I like what I see there. I see some potential. I don't know how far it can go.
I like
Obviously,
the Timberwolves at 17-4.
Yes, I definitely like that. Definitely, because last year people forget, Cat missed half the season. And so people said, the experiment didn't work, having the two big men. We don't know because Cat wasn't there.
Yeah. And I don't know how it doesn't work because Cat's a 3-point shooter. He literally won the 3-point contest.
Yeah,
he definitely can stretch the floor.
Yeah, he's not in Gobert's space. Gobert has the whole floor to himself.
He can
OKC
still catch all those lobs.
OKC. Second place.
We thought they would be good because, like we talked about before, it's a young man's game.
It's Shea with the 38 tonight.
Just putting it on. He was putting it on Golden State because it was like he got to that point where he realized, oh, none of you can guard me. So he was making his moves. He would get just outside the paint. Like I said, if that game was on when we first started the podcast, he'd get right outside the paint and he'd give him the jab step or the snatch back, and he'd have 8 feet of clearance. So he would snatch the ball back literally and line it up. He's at 8 feet from the hoop, 10 feet from the hoop. And he's like, he snatched it back, but the defender was way up under the hoop. So he had plenty of time to just be like,
whoop. Well, see, it's just like New Orleans, where they made it to the semifinals of the play-in. And I know CJ McCollum missed some time, but they're 12-11. Like, did you only prepare for the in-season tournament and just
I don't think that team. I don't think they're cohesive enough. I don't think they have leadership. I think the players question the dudes who are supposed to be their de facto leaders. So if you look at CJ McCollum, he is the old head, so he's a seasoned vet. I don't think he likes the work ethic of the younger players.
Oh yeah, he was sending shots last year
At
after
the
the
end of
playoff.
last year, and people
Uh-huh.
thought it was like maybe at Zion, but then I heard other reports that it was
I thought it was
directed towards
DI.
Brandon Ingram
Yeah,
because
that's what I thought it
he
was.
wouldn't play with like, oh, my wrist hurts. He wouldn't just tape it up and go
Well,
play kind of stuff.
Zion is just the story. He's the big name. You know what I mean? But yeah, I thought it was BI the whole time.
I thought it was Zion when I first heard it, but through different like little outlets that we watch between podcasts on First Things First, ESPN, like they were getting reports that it was, directed towards Brandon Ingram because he just wouldn't play through little things. He wouldn't play my finger. Like, we'll tape it to the pinky and let's just go play.
Get on out here. Kobe finger wasn't even attached to the rest of his hand.
Kobe finger got dislocated on a foul. He goes to the bench, gets it popped back into place, and shoots the free throws.
Yeah. I I met my one of my coworkers, old coworkers, husbands the other day, and he was on that. You know what I mean? Like, he was like, "Yo, like, like, I just took the Benchmade and pulled my wisdom teeth out," and I was just like, "On purpose?"
No, I'm not doing that. No.
On purpose? But yeah,
Okay.
some people are just built like that. Some people just built like that,
Yeah.
But how about my Rockets?
You could be unique. You could be unique. I don't need to be unique with you.
How about my Rockets sitting at 10-9, knocking out the Nuggets out of the play-in tournament? And and before the season started, I tried to warn you, Mr. Logical. Did I not try to warn you? I told you that Orlando was coming. I told you they were coming.
I mean, I can't front. I'm impressed.
They won 9 in a row at one point, beat Boston. Obviously I'm not sitting up here trying to make the case that they're a contender or anything like that, but I had them getting into the play-in. They might they might actually get in without the play-in. It's still early though, still
early, but you are who you are. You get the Bulls and a 9-14.
I feel like the Bulls
never seem to turn around.
I feel like the Bulls, as soon as I said that Billy Donovan needed to be fired, I feel like the Bulls won like 3 in a row after I said that. And then
they're 5-5 in their last 10 games.
Yeah, Zach LaVine is out, for another 3 to 4 weeks. I saw earlier. So we'll see what happens with that.
He's not coming back to play for the Bulls.
I don't think so either. Toronto's looked a lot better and competitive than I thought they would. I thought they were going to have some things to figure out, because Scotty Barnes is like the de facto.
What is up with Detroit? I haven't really followed them. I'll be honest. I know I'm a co-host of a sports podcast.
They are young. They are young, and to steal what you said about the Pelicans, there just isn't a lot of cohesion there. Like, Cade Cunningham has looked good, but he's a turnover machine. Jaden Ivey, doesn't see a shot that he doesn't want to take. The big men, don't have depth. So Duren is good. Isaiah Stewart is good. And then after that, you got like Bagley, James Wiseman, so they don't have depth in the front court.
Former top picks.
Yeah.
These guys are top 3 picks.
Yep. And, what was it? Bagley went before Luka or something like that?
Bagley went before Luka and Trae Young.
Yeah. So
that was one. Remember that Colin Cowherd clip that I sent you of like him 23 minutes of being wrong?
Yeah.
That was
That was one of the things.
That was one of his takes.
But yeah,
it's gonna be like Luka who? He literally said Luka who?
Well, I think that Cade Cunningham, obviously coming off the injury last year where he only played 12 games. I think he's
Kawhi
still
just shot a one-leg running.
Yeah, I saw it. He's still finding himself in certain ways, because in college he was the point guard, primary ball handler, but now at the NBA level, can he consistently do that? because he's not overly athletic.
Yeah, but
So
like, how difficult really? Like, I get that it's a tough sport for regular people to play. I'm 5'8.5", 5'9" on a good day, 5'10" in my Tims. Um, but for like you're a 6'8" point guard. After a year in the league, you got like what are you doing? How are you not adjusting? LaMelo Ball was 5'8" in high school. He blew into grew up like 6'8". He was playing in Lithuania and
Australia,
Ohio and Australia, and he came into the league and off the rip, he was killing it. Like, either you have it or you don't. And I think it's a lot of situations where you look at a guy and you think potential. And I
hmm
remember hearing this, like, potential is such a dangerous word. It's like, nah, like, either you got it or you don't.
right,
Either you're a good coach or you're not. Either your player you have can do what you need them to do or they can't. And if
right.
they can't, you got to make moves to figure out like why you here.
Who do I got to get in here to do the job you're supposed to do?
Because I can't keep waiting on you to do. We all see how the game's supposed to be played. It's not difficult
I mean,
as far as the people who are on that level.
they lost by 32 tonight.
How do you lose by 32? The spreads of most of these games are like 6.5, 5.5. Like, even the gamblers aren't expecting you to get blown out. Like, how are you getting blown out?
Yeah, it
I
just
think
doesn't.
Brooklyn blew somebody out tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking at the scores right now. Brooklyn blew out my Wizards by 27.
Yeah,
It just.
there's
I mean, the Jazz are down by 18 right now.
and they're 7-14.
Yeah, Dallas is
How
up
the
on
how the
Portland
Clippers 10-10? Like,
because they went and got a dude that don't fit in. Just
it doesn't even look cool.
yeah.
Like, it doesn't, like, as I sit back and look at it, it
Well, this
doesn't
was
even
like
look.
5 years ago. We in there, this is like the next dynasty.
It looks like because right, okay, Paul George has brought the ball up and he was looking around and then he just like gave it to James Harden. And James
Mhm.
Harden tried to give it to Kawhi, and his little foul occurred. But it just doesn't look fluid. It looks like they're
Yeah.
just kind of waiting for James Harden to make a move, so they give him the ball. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of these
I
stacked
need to
teams.
go look at one of those like ladders. Like I wonder who the rookie of the year is right now.
Chet,
Yeah, I guess it would have to be, but because I was thinking about that earlier. Brandon Miller. Of you know Mr. Logical shit on him fame. Averaging 14 points, shooting 39% from three.
from three,
Yeah,
not bad,
39 from
not bad.
three, 45 from the floor.
I just didn't think he had passion in his face. It just didn't look like a person who had a lot of like.
I think he's
And then the
just
way
a
he played,
robot. I think
the
he's
way he played in the tournament, the way he played in the NCAA tournament, and how he transitioned that to just this same robot like blah. Like,
like he's
you got to
robot.
be
He's the
intense.
robot version of Kevin Durant. Like Durant talks about, I'm a baller. This is what I do. This is my life. Brandon Miller feels all of that. He just doesn't express it.
Well, I need you to get Kevin Durant points. I need you out here 26.5. I
And of
need
course,
I
LaMelo's
need you
hurt
to do
every
something.
year.
Yep.
So like I don't like. Is it time for Charlotte to move on from him just because he
I
can't stay
would.
healthy?
I would, just because I think you can get some pieces for him. I
Yeah, I
think
mean,
you could probably get a couple of pieces. I'm not saying like I don't think he's a
you're
good
still three
player,
years away from being like a
because you're gonna have to
real.
pay him a lot. He's gonna
Yeah,
generate a lot of
well,
money.
I think
Just
they already. I thought they already paid him.
nah, I'm talking about like that. Not the rookie extension. I don't think he got the rookie extension yet.
I thought he did,
If he
but
did, it's probably close to 200 million.
I thought he did. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, 5 year, 260.
So LaMelo Ball has a $260 million contract.
He definitely is.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
That
It's
is nuts.
guaranteed.
That is nuts.
That's
But
fully
I need to
guaranteed.
get my son out here to like these people that stretch your legs or whatever it is, because he's running a 4.340 and he touching the rim, he's like the same height as me. So, we gotta get him somewhere. But I think
Do some
that
yoga.
the NBA to me, outside, like I said, outside of as we got closer to the knockout or when we got in the knockout round and all that, the in-season tournament didn't feel any different than any other NBA year to me. It just looked different because of the courts and all that other
But the
stuff.
viewership ramped up. I
Yeah, the
think it
viewership
didn't look
ramped up
different
because it's
because you
marketing.
didn't
It's
want
marketing.
because I think it didn't look different to you because you didn't want it to you didn't care for it.
Like so for example, we talked or we didn't talk about it on here, but in real
Listen here, hold on real quick. On the ESPN, it says Pacers Lakers championship preview.
but in real life, we talked about Dallas 30-0 run and still lost the game. That would have been awesome if that was in the in-season tournament. That would have been a moment. That would have been like you always talk about where's your playoff moments or like where's your, when you're talking
Yeah,
about players. So
like the
like that would have
individual
been
player.
great for
Yeah,
the in-season tournament, because realistically, like, are there any moments to you that stood out in the in-season tournament that you could just vividly be like, ooh? The
I
only thing I
think
can think of is the timeout that we talked about.
the timeout, the floor. I think the way the Lakers played throughout it. I think as LeBron being the pseudo ambassador of the league as the elder
But that's
statesman.
no different than what he did last year, though.
Yeah, but
They just weren't winning, but
remember
he
the
was
year
doing the
remember the
same thing.
play-in? Remember the play-in year that he said he hated the play-in, but then they
He
played
needed
against Golden State. He had hurt his eye and he was like, I just shot for the middle one or whatever.
Yeah.
Like those are the kind of like little moments you kind of get. You're not gonna get it's not
Yeah, he
gonna
was
be
lying too.
lasting. I think he just shot the ball. He's always
he was just trying to sound cool. That's what that was.
LeBron always tries to sound cool. I like
You know what I'm
LeBron.
saying? Just like these courts, looking like a bad
I
trip
think
off
I
of
think the
Mad Dog
courts
2020.
I think the courts are something that people I think that'll make people remember because I think it's smart because right
No, but
now,
I'm talking about actual on the court basketball. I ain't talking about the aesthetics and all that stuff like that. I'm talking about like actual basketball on the floor.
but that's the
Like,
thing. The tournament it's not different basketball and it's not a finality. It's not like the NFL playoffs where it's one
right,
and
right,
done and
right.
you need a moment for it to resonate going forward. They
Yeah,
still have the rest of the season left. So
yeah.
it's not like they can do anything other than just play regular basketball.
Well, that's what I'm saying for
I
the
think the
league.
Milwaukee Indiana game, I think the Milwaukee Indiana was legit. I think having Indiana as one of your teams because you can already market Milwaukee. You can already market LA. You can already market the Clippers. You can already market Dallas and all these other teams that have stars. Being able to highlight one of these, like me, and you, we talk about a lot of our small market conversations, the embracing a new format conversation, and it works
Right.
because the players played hard. Yes, you might not get the buzzer beaters, you're not gonna get the NCAA tournament level, responses because it's not the finale. Their year isn't over. So you're not gonna get the same thing. Whereas Pepperdine playing against, Texas Longhorns, they're gonna give you everything because Pepperdine, if they knock Texas out, they're on to the round of 32.
Right.
Whereas here, it's just like you just don't get to go to Vegas.
Right. And
You
and
get
you know, and
you
it's
get
hard
that day off, whereas LeBron and the Lakers and Indiana, and
it's hard for me
Halliburton
to
and the
get
Pacers got
excited.
to go work.
It's hard for me to get excited about watching rich dudes get more money.
Well, I mean, we do it every day, and that's why they get so much money because we're talking about it. We're buying the
No, I
jerseys.
know, but
I
I'm
bought
just
this
saying,
hat.
like
This hat cost me $40, and it went to some Falcons player.
with that being the prize, it's just like okay, like so what if the prize was like a lottery pick?
I was ready to disagree with whatever you said. I
Asshole,
was already thinking, like, I'm gonna say no to whatever you said
asshole.
already. Like, yeah, I admit it. That's a flaw of mine. I'm not working on it, but that's a flaw that I have. Like I said, I'm not working on it. But I was like, he gonna say something. I'll be like, nope, I don't like it. Uh
I don't know how you make it work, but just something to. I was just something that like I said, popped into my head
or
where it
you
was like,
or if you're not in the lottery, you get balls in the lottery because the
yeah,
lottery is the top
something,
14
yeah.
teams. So
So the only problem with that is,
you get half of, say, like, there's, so it's 100, so it's 14 teams. Say the 14th team has 20 balls in the lottery, you get 10.
mhm.
You know,
Yeah, I can see that because I mean, like, obviously that goes. There's a certain way to look at that because if the Lakers win, LeBron's not trying to get, Steph Castle or Donovan Clingan or anybody like that out of college. He's just going to trade them anyway or get them traded anyway.
well,
So
if you have a
you know,
lottery pick, now you got trade bait.
yeah, there you go. I guess there you go. So so like I said,
Like
that's
you
an
said,
idea.
I mean, it's not crazy because the MLB All-Star game
Used to
used to
decide the World
determine
Series.
World Series, home field advantage.
Yeah,
So it's not out of the realm of possibility that this in-season tournament can have that level of impact.
yeah. Because I would
It
like for
probably
it
has
to
to be
have.
presented to make sense.
They can have their money, but I would like for it to have something consequential basketball wise. Like some kind of basketball reward.
If you're last in your group, you lose your first round, you lose your second round draft pick.
Something, because I mean, like
Make
if you
people
think,
play.
because I mean, think about it. Like if the Lakers win, like you got LeBron, AD, and whoever else, guys like Troy Vincent. Here I go.
Very
Guys
good.
like guys like Gabe Vincent will take that $500,000. You know what I mean? But LeBron, Anthony Davis don't need that, or
Didn't
whatever. Like
Vincent sign
Giannis
like a
don't need that.
3-year, $48 million
I
contract or
think it was 3 years, 33 million.
39 or 39, 33, something like that?
Yeah, it was something like that. You know what I mean? So the 500,000 will probably be like, he would like that, and Max
In
Christie would like
California,
that.
it'd be 218,000 after taxes.
Max Christie could use that money, but um I just think that the money just, to me, it just takes away from it.
I
Like,
don't think the money incentivizes players to get. I don't think that amount of money makes players want to give the NBA like a greater product. I
right,
think
right,
I think the NBA just has to put things in place to just create a situation where they present a better product.
right.
So if people don't like the floor, you get rid of the floor. I think people like the pool play, like whatever the group play. I like using the floor because you could tell if it's an in season game, and I think the obnoxiousness of the floor does enhance, people's desire to spectate.
It feels
I
real
still
arena
can't
league to
believe
me.
Draymond fouled.
I know. It feels real arena league to me. The courts, like it just feels. I mean, I get it though, because you have to do something to stand out and to differentiate it from the regular season. Even though the basketball doesn't necessarily look different or whatever, you have to do something to make it feel different and feel bigger,
Yeah,
feel more important. So like I said, it's from a marketing standpoint, it's genius. I can't knock it. It's just not for
yeah.
me.
We've been talking about it for like 25, 28 minutes. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of other people talk about it. I'm not talking about it as far as anybody's legacy. I think that's a stretch. I think it's new. I
Well,
like
it
new.
depends. What if, like, I don't know, say the Pacers win, right? And
There's no
then
legacies involved.
no, 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 just say the Pacers win, and then they win the next two as well.
Nah.
They're the in season beast, man.
Yeah, like there's no legacy. It's what it is it's a season defining moment. like it could define your season.
This tournament
It
has
could catapult a guy like Tyrese or Halliburton to he can get in that De'Aaron Fox realm. He can get in
this
that,
this tournament tomorrow night.
Donovan Mitchell.
This championship game tomorrow night.
Jerry Rice's son's going to the NFL draft.
Okay.
He's not currently ranked in the top 10.
Yeah, yeah. This
Hope you like San
this
Francisco.
championship game tomorrow has the potential to settle the GOAT debate once and for all.
Oh my God. Like I've heard that and it makes no sense.
No, but what makes no
people
sense
believe it.
What makes no sense is that it's 12:40 a.m. up in Jersey right now.
Straight up. Hey, listen, I did my homework before I left work, so I had nothing to worry about. Master's degree almost done. 2 classes left to go. Holla at your boy.
Yes, sir. I'll be
out
done.
here grinding people.
In March.
Get your schooling in.
Podcast, schooling, working,
kids,
parenting,
husbanding. Do it.
All that
traveling.
Stuff.
I'm growing a beard. I'm doing all of that.
I'm
doing all of that, and you can do it too. Listen, go out there, get your education, have a good time. I want to shout out a good friend of mine. We were at dinner last night, and I want to give Mike his flowers. We were talking, and she was like, "Your podcast is really good." She literally said, "She was like, it's like Jalen and Jacoby." She's like, at first I wasn't sure if I was going to listen because everyone says they have it. She's like, I don't know how you guys do it. She's like, I could never do it. I could never just record myself and just put it out there on the internet. She's like, but you guys do really well. I'm like, well, because this is how me and Mike have talked for years.
Well, it's crazy because, like, little known fact, I'm like the shyest dude in the world. But you would never know it. Like, I'm just.
So you present him with a debatable topic, not just sports. If the topic has a pro and a con, present it to Mike at a Hooters with some spicy shrimp in front of him, and it's on. It's on. This is how this whole thing started. So, yeah, man, people just go out there. Like I said,
I had to hold down Tom Brady amongst the sea of Peyton Manning fans.
Yo, I cannot believe like how staunched I was in my Peyton Manning argument. I was like locked in. This is, like I said, this is summer 2013, and we were in Denver. This is when he had just gone to Denver. It's like I was into the Peyton Manning. Like, yeah,
and we were arguing. Like,
they came over there with the wings and burgers.
That's how I got the name 2-5.
That's how you got the name 2-5. It was 4 of us at the table. He had a different opinion than everybody else. I'm like, all right, 2-5.
Yeah. It just took off from there.
Fractions, 25% of the table. He was like, he's like, Kareem's my GOAT. I was like, who is this dude? Who brought him? I was like,
I have to admit.
Big beards with the handles. I was like, who brought this dude?
I have to admit. Not that, we're going to wrap this up. I ain't going to get into a GOAT conversation, but, I am truly shocked that more people don't have Magic Johnson as the GOAT. Like, I'm truly shocked by that. Not saying that I think he is the GOAT, because obviously I don't, but I'm just shocked that maybe he's just too far gone now. Like we're in 2023 now. We're 30 years past his heyday, so maybe that's why. Yeah. But I'm just so shocked that his name isn't in that conversation more. Or like when we talk about quarterbacks, we talk about Peyton Manning, we talk about Tom Brady,
we'll talk about Dan Fouts.
You like to pull out the machete and hack away at Joe Montana, and
I don't hack away at Joe Montana. I just try to keep it.
How could the LeBron fan? How can the LeBron fan not appreciate John Elway?
It's not that I don't. Let me try to get this. Because there are other quarterbacks that have surpassed John Elway.
They have, but the game has changed. First of all, like contextually, the game has changed.
I'm not talking about just yards. If you just look at yards,
but also, a lot of those quarterbacks have better accessories and things like that. Like Joe Montana had Jerry Rice for half. Now, granted, he did win a Super Bowl without Jerry Rice before Jerry Rice showed up. So all due respect, but he had Jerry Rice, for what,
Oh, my
the
my
first
Joe
10
Montana,
years.
my Joe Montana take is always literally from the ownership booth to the equipment guy. They're Hall of Famers in there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you
I
know what I mean?
think
So,
they're trainers in the Hall of Fame. I think
ooh, Justin Jefferson back.
the owners in the Hall of Fame, the coaches in the Hall of Fame, the GMs in the Hall of Fame, the wide
The next
receivers in
coach
the
is in
Hall
the
of
Hall of
Fame,
Fame.
the coach after that's in the Hall of Fame, the quarterback
Steve Young is
after
in the
Joe
Hall of Fame.
Montana's in the Hall of Fame, the wide receivers in the Hall of Fame, TO's in the Hall of Fame. Like, granted, he didn't play with Joe Montana, but it's like the entire organization is just littered with Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's just one. Oh, you know what? I didn't even finish looking. Oh man, we messed up. You know what I'm
what's
saying?
that?
So just in case y'all were wondering, I have the 49ers over the Seahawks.
I thought we missed one.
Yeah. And we just got the word that Geno Smith is questionable, so but even if Geno Smith plays, it's still got
Yeah, that was
you know,
that because I figured the one we agreed on. I didn't really bring it up.
yeah,
This is what I was thinking. I was thinking about this today. Was it no last night? Same thing. I was watching golf at the bar, and I think it was the seniors tour, like the seniors Ryder Cup. That's what it felt like. I think that's what it was like. But like I said, it was on mute at the bar,
right.
and what I notice about sports fans is that we don't want the spectacular. We want the really good average career. Because I think as a fan, as a regular person, you can relate to that. You can relate to Phil Mickelson only winning a few tournaments. You can't relate to Tiger Woods winning 15 majors and
Mm-hmm.
just being dominant for so long. You got to break it down.
I wish I could relate to somebody wanting me as bad as these teams want Shohei Otani.
Yo, he's gonna get $600 million. If he's
You know,
healthy, he's gonna get $600 million.
word is he visited Toronto today, but allegedly the decision is made. So we will probably find out sometime tomorrow.
$600
I
million
just
dollars.
I just had a mythological moment. As I was watching Sports Center, they showed Michael Penix
Mm-hmm.
winning the Maxwell Award, Jaden Daniels winning the Davy O'Brien.
So the nation's best player
Is
is
the
a quarterback.
Maxwell? Yes, and he's a quarterback. And then
And
Davy
the
O'Brien
nation.
is the quarterback specific award as the best quarterback.
So the Maxwell's the best player,
Mm-hmm.
and the Davy O'Brien is the best quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the best player position is a quarterback, Michael Penix. He
Mm-hmm.
won, and then the best quarterback award went to Jaden Daniels.
Yep, and we'll find out tomorrow who wins the Heisman.
Cool. That makes a lot of sense.
Time to split the vote because it ain't gonna be Bo Nix. Time to split the vote. So we'll see what happens. But on that note, y'all, saying Friday night. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Thank you again for all the feedback, the love, the support. Please continue, like, review, subscribe, share. It's all free.
Free 99. Take your grandma about us.
And shout out, make sure you watch Army Navy tomorrow. That's the way it was supposed to be played.
Go Army, beat Navy.
Go Navy. And it's just like that. We love you, folks. See you
Off we
next
go
week.
into the wild blue yonder.
Get prepared because I'm going to be spamming y'all with dumbass bowl game predictions like Eastern Michigan and whoever they
The
playing.
Meineke Car Care Bowl.
The Duke's Mayo Bowl where both of the coaches are going to try to lose so they don't get dunked in mayonnaise. Like, I swear that happened last year. Like, every year that's the tradition is that, like, instead of the water, the Gatorade bath, you get the mayo. So I swear last year it was Maryland against North Carolina State. And I swear they both were just doing like peculiar things. Like it'd be like 3rd and 14, and you need like at least 12 yards to get into field goal range, and you call a toss sweep or something like that.
Flea
like,
flicker.
I ain't getting no mayonnaise tonight. You know what I'm saying? Only mayonnaise is on my sandwich. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't even want that.
But yo, we out. Enjoy your weekends. Peace.